If a brother, tell me when we lie. We lie. If a brother or sister, is into sports, there's nothing wrong with playing sports. What's wrong is when, you stop, you turn your back on the Lord and you start, doing the things that America does. If that's stopping you from doing keeping the law, statute, commandments, then it's an issue. But it ain't nothing wrong with playing sports and nothing like that. We live? We on?
It's looking kind of frozen.
It's not looking. Say what? Go ahead and adjust it. It's no sweat.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, a little bit closer.
Go ahead and adjust it. Is it on both platforms?
I'm gonna check Facebook.
I'll check for you so you can handle that. Let's see. Yeah, we on. It's on. Good to go. So this is Tuesday night Brotherhood class. I'm standing in for Precinct Officer Karataza. I'm gonna go over, this is gonna be a definitive breakdown on who your brother is and who the Gentiles are, and we're gonna kill all that. So make sure if you watching class to take notes, because we're gonna kill all that noise. You got a lot of people that's saying, you got a lot of Israelites right now. It's a lot of debates that say everybody can be saved. Yeah, Israel is God's chosen people, but Paul and Peter, they went to the other nations also, right? And I think a lot of people, we know a lot of people get it twisted when it comes to the writings of Paul. The whole body of the whole theology of Christianity is based on what? The writings of Paul, right? Going to the other nations and loving everybody. Like Christians and fake Israelites, they lean more to Paul than they do on what Christ said. They don't even follow Christ. You feel what I'm saying? Like they have a term for it. It's called Pauline doctrine or gospel, right? Where they lean more on the writings of Paul, misunderstanding his writings, misunderstanding it. And that's what they lean on to come up with this thing that God loved everybody. So we're going to show everybody, which we always do in ISUBK, that God only loves one group of people. And as Black and Hispanic and Native Indian people, we have, a brother. And our brother ain't everybody. Our brothers and sisters ain't humans. Like, oh, we all human beings are. We all bleed red. No, we have a specific people. It's another story I want to bring out. Before we get into that, it's another story I want to bring out. It's a story. If you can look up this story, this happened in San Diego with a basketball team where they won a championship, right? Mostly Hispanic team. They lost. The white team won by like 3 points. So after the game, when you're supposed to show sportsmanship, the winning team throw tortillas at them.
Damn.
Yeah. So I want to, if you can find that article, go ahead and find that. Earlier, the brother had a question about, is it unlawful for us to play sports or be, you said the gymnasium, right?
Like go work out at the gym.
Yeah, go work out. Be about fitness. Go to the gym, play basketball, go lift weights. None of that is where there's no law, there's no sin. But we know, like in the scriptures, our people left being priests under the Greeks. They seen what the Greeks had going on with the Olympic Games and all that, and they wanted to do that. You know what I mean? So they left being priests and doing the job of priests to go do that, right? So when you turn your back, if sports make you turn your back on the Lord, you know what I mean? Then that's the issue. That's a problem. If sports make you deny who you really are, which a lot of people in sports, and I ain't gonna say a lot of people, I'm gonna just say like celebrities, famous people in sports and football, basketball, whatever, they make millions of dollars, right? And so, that's in any profession. Black and Hispanic people, if your life is good, you know, 9 times out of 10, the Lord ain't in your life. You know what I'm saying? That you don't know the truth, right? You conform to the world. You love what your life look like. You love how you live, and you feel as though you got there on your own by hard work and sacrifice. And what's the point of you know, even learning your nationality? It ain't no point to even learn. In order for you to learn your nationality or to get here where we are as black men, Hispanic woman, black women, in order to get to the point where we are learning about our nationality, because we all probably grew up Christian, Islam, or Catholic. In order to get to that point, you gotta be knocked down. You have to be at a low point, right? Because the Lord requires a contrite spirit. He requires somebody that is seeking him. He requires somebody that's looking for him. People that got all the money and all the glory and all the fame, they're not looking for him, right? They're not looking for the Lord. And until the white man take it away, until the white man persecute them, you know what I mean? And put, you know, snatch their fame away from them, snatch their job away from them. So even in sports, because I was in organized sports, basketball, but in sports, what sports do, like team sports, what they do is they make you not. It's almost like Christianity a little bit. It make you not see race, right? Because 9 times out of 10, your coach is white. You know what I mean? You got a mixture of different races on the team, and y'all all working together for one goal, right? And so that makes you kind of like forget about race and look at people as we're all human and we're all equal. That's the same with anything where you go to school. It's the same thing. You go to work. It's the same thing. Everybody's there for a common goal. And so is that somebody at the door?
I think so.
And so everybody's there for that common goal. That's a microcosm or like a metaphor for America, right? Everybody's under that same umbrella for that common goal, and that's to be successful. That's to, you know, have the house with the picket fence, and, you know, send your kids to college, and, you know, do all of that. But, you know, at the end of the day, we have to remember, like, what this life and what this purpose is all about. Us learning who we are, keeping the law, statute, commandments. If it's something that's going to turn us away from that, which going to the gym and lifting weights or going to work out or just doing fitness, I don't believe that's going to turn somebody that already know who they are, right? Make them want to go back into the world. But in the past, our people did do that. Shalom, sis. In the past, our people did turn their back on the Lord and want to be like the Greeks and go to the gymnasium and play in the games. Just like you see the Olympic Games today, they had them back then. You know what I mean? The scripture we will cover talks about they wanted to go and be part of discus, where they throw the disc. You know, what they like swing around in a circle and throw a disc as far as they can throw it. That's what it's called, correct? Is it discus? Yeah, right. They just take a disc and swing it around, right? So, yeah, it ain't no where there's no law, there's no sin. So it's to wild to go work out. What's the scripture where it's talk about physical workout? I'll get it real quick. I mean, it's good to work out also, but we got to understand we want to work out. It's more important to serve the Lord. Like, it's good to be fit. It's good to be, you know, eat right, take care of your body. But it's better to keep the law, statute, and commandments, right? I'm not saying go eat what the hell you want to do and you can serve the Lord and you'll be okay. I'm just saying it's a balance, right? Did you ever find that story?
Come on.
All right, just hold that story. We're gonna hold both stories. We're gonna get into the breakdown. We're gonna go into the breakdown. So the first scripture I want to get is Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Right. This brother, not to save the brother. I forgot my Zondervan pictorial dictionary, Bible dictionary. This one is the one that it has a bigger description for the definitions. The small one is cool. You can make your point with the small one, but this one goes a little deeper on certain things. So, and like most brothers, I got mine for like $5. I got to use. There's no point in buying a brand new book where they floating around for like $4-5. But this is good to have in the arsenal, right? We need to have one in the school, so it's just always here. Another one is the Strong's. So could you give me that? Give me that Strong's Concordance. It's another good Bible, another good book to have. The big one, the real big one.
This one?
Yeah. Now I think this one goes for about $20. But So this is another one to have. This so you can find out the English words. You can get them in the Hebrew or the Greek, because the Old Testament was in Hebrew. The New Testament was originally in Greek. Then it was transliterated into the Old English, and then like the contemporary modern English that we speak today. You know what I mean? So this is a good tool when you're trying to break down scriptures. You're trying to figure out what do things mean, right? So I think these go well. I got one of these about. I got one of these like that was like 7 years ago, and it was $22. So I know they're a lot cheaper now. I got mine brand new at Barnes and Noble, but that definitely has to be. And if you don't have one of these, you can go online. You have the Blue Letter Bible, I believe Blue Letter Bible. You can enter any word. It'll bring the scriptures, and it'll give you not only the Strong Concordance, but different breakdowns from other books that give you a better, different definition of that particular word, whether it's in Hebrew or Greek. Hey, Shalom, right? So, who got that? You got that? You got it. Salaki. I was gonna call you Lahab. It's your name?
Yatab.
Yatab. Yalad and Yatab, right? Yatab, go ahead and read.
This is Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you.
Right. So this didn't just happen to black people. This happened to Hispanic people too. This happened to the Puerto Ricans and the Cubans also. The Spanish conquistadors not only brought slaves, they took slaves back to Spain with them. Right. So this is a curse that happened to all of Israel in some form or fashion, right? And it said Egypt. We had already been in Egypt. Everybody knows that at this point in time. This is Moses in the wilderness with the Israelites. They just came out of Egypt. So is it saying they was gonna go back into Egypt again by ships? No, it's not saying that, because Egypt, right, is the house of bondage. So that's all that actually meant. And so what the Bible was saying is that we would go into bondage again, but this time we would go into bondage by way of ships. We would go into bondage a different way. Egypt is right around the corner from Israel. Like, there's no point in getting on a ship to take somebody in bondage back to Egypt. You can walk them there, right? I want you to read the last end again. No, you shall be sold.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
You shall be sold to who?
Unto your enemies.
To your friends.
Unto your enemies.
To your fellow Americans.
Unto your enemies.
Keep going.
For bondmen and bondwomen.
That's slave men and slave women, right? And this is a clear-cut scripture that nobody can come against, because it's being very specific. At no point in time have what happened in the transatlantic slave trade ever happened on the earth. So it's being very specific, and this is written 2,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So I'm Salakia, 4,000 years ago. So it's being very specific, and it's a prophecy that hadn't happened at that time, but we've seen that it did come to pass in the earth, right? So another thing about this, when we went into this captivity, we were scattered, right? We went to different places, and so we were spread out or dispersed, right? So give me Ezekiel 36:16. What's good with you brothers? Y'all got a question? Anything?
Oh, no.
Good.
We just got out of working.
Straight from the slave to class.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
Couldn't go home and change.
That's what's up.
Oh.
Who got it?
This is Ezekiel 36 and 16. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land and defiled it by their own way and by their doings, their way was before me as the uncleanness of a removed woman.
Damn. The Lord compared the way that we started to follow other gods and we started to serve the heathen nations. The Lord compared that to the uncleanness of a woman, right? Everybody know what that is, right? The Lord felt disrespected.
Right.
You know, he felt disrespected. Like the Lord was ready to give us everything. He was ready to give us a land filled with milk and honey, and we wouldn't have a want or need for anything, right? And we would be on top. And we said, we don't want that. We want to be like them, and we want to be like, these people. And that looks nice, what they doing over there. We want to try that, right? Keep reading.
Wherefore I poured my fury upon them for the blood that they had shed upon the land.
The Lord said that he poured his fury out upon the Israelites, God's people, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people. Go ahead,
And for their idols wherewith they had polluted it.
Keep reading.
And I scattered them among the heathen.
And I what?
And I scattered them among the heathen.
That's the key word right there. The Lord scattered us. That's what you just read in Deuteronomy 28:68. The Israelites were scattered. I'll show you where the northern kingdom was scattered before the tribe of Judah, right? Because when we had a kingdom, King Solomon started to sin, and the northern kingdom they follow King Solomon. So they just sin and sin and sin to the Lord said, you know what? The hell with y'all. And he sent the Assyrians to Israel, and they took the northern kingdom captive and took them back to Assyria. And then the king deported his own people and put them in Israel, right? We'll get to that. That's in 2 Kings. I'll read that from the top one more time, brother.
This is Ezekiel 36 and 16. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own way.
By their own way. Keep reading.
And by their doings. Their way was before me as the uncleanness of a removed woman. Wherefore I poured my fury upon them for the blood that had shed upon the land. That they had shed upon the land,
right?
And for their idols wherewith they had polluted it. And I scattered them among the heathen.
And I scattered them among the heathen. Somebody get the definition. Somebody pull on your phone. Pull the definition of scattered for me, Akim. I mean, we understand what scattered. Shalom, we understand what scattered is, but just for the edification, so we can get this breakdown. We want this precise breakdown. And I want brothers, if you can, to take notes with these scriptures, because you're going to need these when you battle people and you prove to them that, who the Gentiles are and who they are not, and who's God's chosen people and who he came for. You know what I mean? Because Christianity is a strong force on the earth that says that God loves everybody. But we're pinpointing and we're going through it like a map. We're going through it and showing you, connecting those dots to show who is the Lord dealing with, who are the Gentiles, who are not Gentiles, right? And we're gonna get the definition of that too in this Zondervan Bible. When you guys got it, scattered.
This is
scattered
from Merriam-Webster. To cause to separate widely, to cause to vanish,
right?
To fling away heedlessly. To distribute irregularly, to sow by casting in all directions, to reflect irregularly and diffusely.
How many is it?
6.
But the point is that to be scattered is to be what? One of them said to just remove completely, right? Read it again. One of them said to remove completely. That's what the Lord did to us in the land of Israel. He totally removed the Israelites out of the land of Israel. Go ahead. Go ahead and read that.
To fling away heedlessly,
Uh-huh.
to cause to separate
The water,
widely, to cause to diffuse or disperse.
Now, that's what I want. To cause to diffuse or disperse. Disperse. That's the key word. Remember that word, everybody. Go ahead.
I got the Oxford Language Dictionary.
That's it's Tawab. What he read was Tawab. Usually, what the school that we look to is the Merriam. That one is Tawab. A lot of times, because if you just go to Google, it won't give you a real detailed one. But you go into the Merriam-Webster, it'll give you a good definition, right? So the key word right there was disperse, right? Remember that. Let's get John 7:35. John 7:35. So remember, Israel was scattered. Another word for scattered is disperse. Another way, you can look at it as like we went into captivity or slavery and we were scattered. We ended up here. Some people ended up in the West Indies. Some ended up in Spain. Some ended up in North Africa. Some ended up in Europe. We were scattered and dispersed everywhere, right? Who got that? John 7:35.
This is John 7:35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will
Go to the top. Go to the next scripture up.
John 7:34. Ye shall seek me and shall not find me.
So Christ said, you shall seek me and you won't find me. He's talking to the Jews. Go ahead.
And where I am, thither ye cannot come. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles?
Will he go where?
Unto the dispersed.
Unto the dispersed. Remember, we just read that. So by the time that Christ was on the scene, before Christ was born, the nation of Israel had been scattered and dispersed. Christ's whole job was to gather back those nations, those Israelites that were living in other nations. Some of them were. So if you grew up in Jerusalem, you grew up with the law. You grew up keeping the high holy days. You knew who you were. But let's just say that you was an Israelite and your grandfather, he was what part of the dispersed. And you grew up in Rome. You grew up in Ephesus. You grew up in Corinth, right? You grew up in Cappadocia. You grew up in another place where it's you serving another God. You never kept the Passover before. You're not physically circumcised, right? You're part of the dispersed. Not only that, you were considered a Gentile. So we're gonna get that. Let me get that now. Give me Gentiles and the Zondervan so I can make it clear. Give me yes, Gentiles. Gentiles. What page is that? I know the page for heathen. Go. You got it?
Yeah,
Give me Gentiles. So we can get an understanding of what a Gentile is. Because in the Christian church, they say everybody is Gentiles. And the people in Israel today are God's chosen people. Go ahead, sis.
So weren't the Gentiles the ones that didn't want to follow the law?
No.
In the first place?
No. Gentiles are supposed to be non-Israelites, right? So Gentiles are supposed to be non-Israelites. I'm saying it in a worldly way. Gentiles are supposed to be non-Israelites. And in the Christian church, they look at everybody as though they're Gentiles, and there's God's people are those people in Israel today, right? The Bible, sometimes it refers to, in context, Israelites as Gentiles because they're living in Gentile lands, serving Gentile gods. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the, for on the surface, but we're going to get deeper into it with this definition. And when you say read it out, I'll read the title of the book.
The Zondervan's Bible Dictionary definition of Gentiles. Of the OT 30 times, people 11 times, heathen.
You don't have to read all of that. Skip down to the part where it tells you about where it gets to the meat of it.
Let me see.
Usually referring to
Kanokan. Usually means a non-Israelite people. In the NT, Greek ethnos renders goy, while laos, people, corresponds to Hebrew.
let me see. Let me,
I know which one he's talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find it.
because you know how it has all the little parentheses and all of that. You don't have to read all of that. Just get to the meat of it.
Under conditions of peace, considerate treatment was according Gentiles under OT laws.
I think you might have skipped it.
Did I?
You read part of it, but I think you might have skipped part of it. It's no sweat.
But M is the ordinary term for Israel. So it goes through the whole little
Let me see.
thing that you was talking about, and then it says
I got you. No sweat. The water. So this is what I want right here. So what the brother said, it's when it comes to Gentiles, right? Usually means a non-Israelite people. Usually it means a non-Israelite people. But we understand that we were scattered. So it also refers to Hellenes and Greeks. So Israelites in Rome were also considered Gentile. Israelites that didn't grow up in Jerusalem, didn't know that they was Israelites. It's sort of the same way as Black and Hispanic people being in America. We would be considered, at least those in the world would be considered Gentiles by other Jews that grew up in Jerusalem. They would consider you a Gentile because you never kept a feast day. You don't know your identity, right? You worshiping Caesar Borgia. You're worshiping the Virgin Mary, and they're looking at you like you're an outcast. You're not one of us. You're a Gentile, right? You're one of the dispersed. Read that scripture again. Go ahead. So these brothers and sisters were dispersed, and they were living in lands, serving other gods, living the customs and living the way, and even speaking the language of those nations. Right? Go ahead.
This is John 7:35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles? So
they said, will he go among the dispersed, among the Gentiles? We just read what dispersed is. The scattered Israelites among the Gentiles, living in the lands of the Gentiles. You get what I'm saying? Everybody clear on that? All right, no sweat. Let's get James 1:1. James 1:1. You got it? All right, go ahead.
The book of James, chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of the Most High and the Lord, Yahushua Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad.
To the what?
To the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad.
So who we this is the New Testament. Read it from the top again. For the Christians that might be listening online, for the brothers, for the brothers that might have it confused in the world, for the fake Israelites that got it confused, read it again.
The book of James, chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord, Yahushua Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad.
To the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Not to the Moabites which are scattered abroad. Not to the Edomites. Not to the, whoever. Not to anyone, but to the 12 tribes of Israel, right? Who are scattered. You see how there's a map where you can connect the dots. There's using the same type of words, scattered, dispersed, right? These are the blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians that were scattered in these lands over those captivities, right? This is talking about, this is basically, this is the remnants of people from the time, from the Old Testament. They have been scattered under the Babylonian captivity. They have been scattered under the Persian captivity, under the Greek captivity. So you would find Israelites in all of these lands, at being born in those lands, never ever knowing who they were, never ever knowing that they are the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, until the word was preached to them, till they heard the word, right? And that's what the mission was. Paul, that was Paul's mission, right? When he went to Corinth, all those books, what, Corinth and Ephesus and, you know, Romans, when he was going to those different churches, these is Israelites that he's trying to turn over. But you have Israelites from Jerusalem that's saying like, these people don't deserve it, right? But we're gonna get to that. That was the vision that Peter got in Acts 10. But let's get Acts 11 and 19. Acts 11 and 19. Whoever got it, when you get it, go ahead and read it.
This is Acts 11 and 19. Now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution.
Wait. Say that again.
Now they which were scattered abroad.
See that word there again, scattered abroad, dispersed, you know, everywhere. Now we're talking about a specific people, scattered abroad. This means these are Israelites that ended up in these lands because of captivities that happened prior. Go ahead, read it from the top again.
Now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen traveled as far as Phoenice and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none but only the Jews, but unto the Jews only.
Read that again.
Preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only.
To the Russians only.
But unto the Jews only.
To the Caucasians only.
But unto the Jews only.
To the Romans only.
But unto the Jews.
To the Jews. Like it's very specific to who it's talking to and who the word went out to, right? And like I said, the Christian church is built off of the words of Paul, but they don't study. Right. They don't go into these records and really try to break them down, right, because they want it to mean what they think it should mean. And they would think in their head that how is it that that God that created heaven and earth only loves one specific people? That's not fair that he don't love this one, that one, and that one. You know what I mean? But who's to say what, like, who are you to say what God should love? Right. Who are you to make up to even have anything to say on that? The Lord gonna love who he wants. What is it? Romans 9 and 13. Somebody give me that. I believe the Bible can say it better than I can utter it right now. I believe the Bible can say it better than I can articulate it right now. So give whoever got that real quick, hold that. I want you to hold that. Give me Romans 9 and 13.
The book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Now, a lot of people say, God only loves, but right here, the Lord is showing you that he does love, but he also hates. The Lord wouldn't create you with the emotion of hate if he didn't hate. Why would a God that is all love, as they say in Christianity, create you and you have all of these complex emotions? You have the ability to hate, to have jealousy, envy, all of those things. Don't the Lord say that he a jealous God? Don't he say that he hate? You know what I mean? Well, we just read he hate. Why would he create you with those emotions and he don't have those same emotions? Exodus 15 and 3 says the Lord is a man of war, right? And you got to understand, you can't look at the Lord as like some soft, hippie. You got to look at the Lord as like a man that's at the highest in the military, a top general, a commander, that does not spare not, you know what I mean? But the thing about it with us, our relationship with the Lord, he is hard on Israel. We've seen what he did. He let us go into slavery by our enemies. He let us be destroyed by our enemies
more than once. The difference is with the so-called white man is that when the white man had us in slavery, he took our identity and he's never given it back. See, when we was in captivity in those other captivities, we were allowed to still be Jews. We're allowed to still serve our God up under the Assyrians and the Romans and all of them. The difference with America is they took everything from us. We have an identity crisis. We don't even know who we are in America, right? So yeah, the Lord, who are we to say how the Lord should be? You know what I mean? And that's part of the problem with Christianity and understanding what Paul is saying. Like they want it to mean that he's going to everybody, right? And clearly we're going to keep getting scriptures. We're going to see that the Lord is choosing a specific people. He didn't change from the beginning to the end, right? Who had that? Romans 9:13. Keep reading.
The book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
The Lord hated Esau. Keep reading.
Verse 14. What shall we say then?
What shall we say then? What shall you say then? That's not right. It's not fair that they don't get to be in the kingdom of heaven. What should you say then in your mind, in your small minuscule mind,
right?
In your mind that don't think like that could never match the mind of the Lord. Go ahead,
Come on, sir. Verse 14. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with the Most High?
You gonna say the Lord is unrighteous because he hate a certain group of people? Are you Christians gonna say that? Are you gonna say the Lord is evil and wicked because he don't love everybody? Meanwhile, he created every damn thing. Go ahead, keep reading.
God forbid, for he said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy.
The Lord said, hell nah, Shalakit. God forbid. No, because I will have mercy on who I want to have mercy on. Don't tell me who to love and who to hate. Who to hate. I created all of this, right? I created this. Go ahead,
Come. And I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion.
And he said, I'm going to have compassion on whom I'm going to have compassion on. And the Lord have compassion on Jacob. The Lord have compassion on Jacob, who are the 12 tribes of Israel today, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's who he chose to have compassion on, right? You can't get upset at him because he don't love everybody. Right. But you'll see that Christians, and when I say Christians, I'm talking about all the denominations, even people that, know that they're Israelites. They want everybody to be saved. They don't think that it's fair that the Lord only loves one certain group of people, right? That's almost like saying somebody don't think it's fair that you only love your children and you don't love all the children playing at the playground. Like you can't, I'm gonna have compassion on who I'm gonna have compassion on. Those are my kids. These ain't my kids. I ain't gotta, care like that, right? I'm trying to give an analogy or a metaphor for how the Lord is. Like you can't get upset at the way the Lord runs his business, right? The way he wants it to be, that's how it's gonna be. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's the Lord's game, and we just in it. Right. We just pieces and players in it. You know what I mean? We don't make no rules, right? But we do follow rules and we do follow orders, right? Was that it on it? You was gonna say something.
Sluggy, if I may though, I was just gonna mention basically piggyback off what you were saying about Christianity.
Right.
And basically, that's how you know they hate the Most High, because they don't read and want to push out what he's actually saying and want to just push out what they're thinking.
Right. Yeah, they want, like, it's just human nature, especially with blacks and Hispanics, because we love everybody. We have a lot of compassion on all nations. When something happens to somebody that's from another nation, black and Hispanic people are the first people that's like, oh, I feel sorry. I feel, and coming and running, to help out. Right. But we don't do that for one another though. Right. We have a hard look towards one another, but we have a very compassionate look towards other people. Right. And so we are mentally slaves, like, because in our mind, we just cannot believe that everybody is not included. Like everybody can't get in the car. Everybody, like, everybody can't get everybody can't get on. Everybody can't get on this boat. The island is burning, and those people can't get on the boat. Sorry, you know what I mean. Get over it, or you can get off and burn with them. That's the metaphor for America. Because if our people don't come out of the mental slavery that they're in, they're going to die in America when the thermonuclear destruction comes. When those missiles from Russia and China start exploding over the sky, then what, right? You're going to want to you're going to hope that you're in the truth. You're going to hope you're like, I wonder where those brothers are that were saying what they were saying, because it's coming to pass now, right? You could drop that. Go ahead. I'll go back to that scripture. Where were we at again? We was in Acts, right? The scatter, preaching to the Jews only.
This is Acts 11 and 19. Now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen traveled as far as Phoenice and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only.
Preaching the word to none but only the Jews only. Now there's instances in the scriptures where a Jew is referred to as a Roman. A Jew is referred to as a Ethiopian. But this is just because they grew up in the land of Ethiopia. They grew up in the land of Rome or Ephesus, and they're, you know what I mean? I'm not going to say me, but I'm going to say Israelites in the world would be considered the American. Right. On the way as I tarried to such and such, I came across the American that wanted to hear about Jesus Christ. And when it was revealed to him, he praised the Lord. And a Christian will read that like they read the Bible and say, oh, no, they was going to Ethiopians. They had it. They could be, in the promise. Romans could. Paul was a Roman, right? Well, he was a Jew, but he had Roman citizenship, and he was bilingual, so he could speak what is the language of Rome? Latin, right? Latin. He could speak Latin and the Hebrew, right? So like, somebody let a fly in here, and I'm about to pull the heat out and for real. Anybody know me? No, I don't like flying. Hell no. Look like he got a little bit of hair on his back. He need to get knocked down real quick. So like it. But let's get Matthew chapter 10, 5 and 7. All right. Matthew chapter 10, verse 5 through 7. Let's get that. Any questions? Let me look. No questions. Let's get it in. Who got it? You got it?
This is Matthew 10 and 5. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Go where? Go not where?
Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Okay, so right there, we know that Christ is talking about one specific type of Gentile. That's a Gentile, right? Keep reading.
And into any city of the Samaritans.
Go ahead.
Enter ye not.
To any city of the Samaritans. This Samaria was what the central part of ancient Israel, or the northern kingdom. That was like the capital of the northern kingdom of Israel, right? And like I told you, we'll get to it in 2 Kings. They went into captivity, and the Assyrian king put his people in Samaria. So I don't know if y'all know the story when Christ came to the woman at the well. She was a Samaritan, right? And he told her, you had 5 husbands. Right. And the one you with right now, he's not your husband. She said, our father, I'm paraphrasing because we could go to it. We might have time to go to it. She said, our fathers worship in this mountain. And Christ said, the day cometh when neither your fathers will worship in this mountain, because salvation is of the Jews. He said, woman, you don't know what you worship, but we know what we worship, right? I'm paraphrasing. I probably said it backwards, right? Go ahead.
but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. What happens to sheep if they don't have a shepherd? Anybody?
Like we said, they died.
Say that again.
They died.
I'll take that.
They're scattered.
Get a brother a hand. That's what I wanted, like, because I'm trying to stick to dispersed, scattered. But your answer was right too. They get scattered, and they lost, and they on their own. And guess what? Anything can prey on them and kill them, right? So both of the answers was correct. I just want to stay. I want you to stay right here where you've been here at the beginning of the class, correct? You came in kind of, yeah, Salaki. But yeah, I was dealing with scattered. Maybe you can fill the brother in with the scriptures. So because we dealing with basically scattered and dispersed. And these are the Israelites. And we're putting the dots together where it's talking about a specific people throughout the whole scripture. So we started at Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Then we went to Ezekiel 36. But if you don't get them by the time in the class, I'll give you the scriptures, right? So let's get 2 Kings. This is what I was talking about. 2 Kings 17, verse 1. 2 King. If anybody got a question in the chat online, go ahead and put your question in.
So you said 17?
2 Kings chapter 17, verse 1.
Come on. The book of 2 Kings, chapter 17 and verse 1. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hosea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord.
So Hosea did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. Keep going.
But not as the kings of Israel that were before him.
So he did something different than what the kings before him were righteous, and he was wicked. Go ahead, on.
Verse 2. Slakia. Verse 3. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hosea became his servant.
And Hosea became his servant, right? He had to pay tribute to the king of Assyria.
And gave him presents.
Keep going. Yeah.
Verse 4. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hosea, for he had sent messengers to sow king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year.
Right. So he didn't bring a present to the king. He had been doing this year by year, and he didn't do it this time. Go ahead.
Come on. Therefore, the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land, and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gazan.
Now he carried them away. So the Lord allowed for the Assyrian to come and shut him. It said, shut him up. Shut him up. This is a stele, right? A Assyrian tablet which shows the king of Israel, Jehu, bowing down to Shalmaneser, paying tribute, with servants behind him with gifts in their hand, right? Go ahead, keep reading that.
Come on. And in the cities of the Medites, for so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt. from under the hand of the Pharaoh king of Egypt, and he had feared.
What verses we on? Huh?
Well, 7, sir.
We on verse 7. That's good. We was at 6. So skip up to 23. 23, 24.
Come on. Verse 23.
So this is what you need to know for what's going on in I want to say John chapter 4, when Christ meets the woman at the well, and she's a Samaritan. This is what's going on. She's not an Israelite. She's a heathen living in the land of Israel, northern Israel, right? But this is the backdrop of how they got in the land, right? So it was a little bit of mixture. It was some Samaritans mixed in with God's people living in the land at the time of Christ. But this is how they got in the land. This is telling you what happened. And now, also what you got to think, he took the northern kingdom to Babylon, to Assyria. So that is also being what? Dispersed, scattered. So when at the time of Christ, there was Israelites living in the land of Assyria to that day, generation after generation, right? Still living there, serving the gods they had, whatever their gods are, and living the customs that they lived, right? Keep going.
Okay. Verse 23. Until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants, the prophets, so was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day.
Unto this day, right? Go. Is that it? That's verse 24?
That's verse 23, sir.
Okay, keep going. 24.
Verse 24. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof.
So he took his own people from his land and put them in that land, right? And they possessed the land, right? And they lived in the land. I think you read a little longer, you see that they didn't they started getting killed and attacked by wild beasts because they didn't know how to live in the land. It's a holy land. So they had to get the priests to show them how to live in the land so that wild beasts wouldn't kill them, right? Let's get Acts 6:1. Acts 6:1. And if you could, I want you to get Hellenist. Sluggish. You got the book. All right. Yeah, get Hellenist. In the Zondervan Hellenist, page 347. When whoever got Acts 6:1, just go ahead and read.
Book of Acts, chapter 6, verse 1. And in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews.
Right. That's just 6:1.
Come.
So there arose in the daily distribution, there arose a murmuring. They got into it against the Hebrews and the Grecians. So we're going to find out what is it talking about, right? Because these are two groups of people that were, living amongst one another, but they wasn't getting along for some reason. So if you got that, Hellenist.
The definition of Hellenist in the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. Non-Greeks who spoke Greek, a term used specially of Jews who made Greek their tongue.
So these were Jews, but they were scattered Jews that made Greek their tongue. They lived the customs of the Greeks. They lived in Rome. They lived in Athens. They lived in Ephesus. And you got to understand, during the time of Romans, this is after the Maccabees. This is after the Greek rulership. Now we're in the Roman rulership, and the tongue was Greek still, and the customs were still Greek, but it was the Roman rulership. And so read that again so we can understand who are the Grecians, because I think it goes into that and even tells you that.
The definition of Hellenists in the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. Non-Greeks who spoke Greek, a term used specially of Jews who made Greek their tongue.
So these were Jews They didn't know they was Jews. They spoke Greek language, right? And this is who Paul and Peter went to. Go ahead,
Con. And with it often adopted Greek ideas and practices.
They often adopted Greek ideas and practices, no different than Black and Hispanic and Native Indians in America adopt American ideas and practices. That's the reason why can't nobody get over the fact that God don't love everybody. It's because we adopted the Christianity that the so-called white man gave us. We adopted that practice. We adopted the idea that we all bleed red. We all human. Like, you know, God is love. You know, we've adopted that idea, that train of thought, right? It goes more into it, doesn't it?
Allah, sir.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. All right. So let's get Acts chapter 10 and 30. Give me Acts chapter 10 and 1, right? Going to Cornelius, right? There's a big discussion about whether Cornelius was a Roman or was he an Israelite, right? We know that the Lord is only dealing with one nation, but how do you explain this to somebody in the world or a fake Israelite that is battling you, saying that Cornelius was, you know, a Roman and God loves everybody? He was a Roman and God wanted Romans to inherit the promise of Abraham. I'm being sarcastic, but I'm saying you got to be able to, you know, go to these scriptures and show them, because this is a big argument in the Israelite community, right? This is because a lot of their hopes and dreams is on the shoulders of whether or not Cornelius was an Israelite or was he a Roman, right? Who got that? Salaki.
The book of Acts, chapter 10, verse 1. And the apostles and brethren that were in Judea heard that the Gentiles had also received the word of the Most High. And when Peter was come up to Jerusalem, they that were of the circumcision contended with him, saying, Thou went into men uncircumcised, and didst eat with them. But Peter rehearsed the matter from the beginning, and expounded it by order unto them, saying, I was in the city of Joppa praying.
Is you on Salakia? You on Acts chapter 10?
Acts 10.
I mean, I could have broke it down, but I was like, this go good with the what the brother just read was that when Peter went, they was mad. The elders in Jerusalem were mad when Peter went to the uncircumcised. Like I said before, if you didn't grow up in Jerusalem, they considered you outcast. So even Israelites that grew up knowing that they were Jews in Israel, they didn't see you as, you know, as an Israelite. Right. And so they contended with Peter when he came back. Like, you sat and ate with him. You know, going chilling with him and doing all of this. Like, nigga, what's wrong with you? Right. Go ahead,
Sir, that was my bad. I wasn't.
Yeah, it's no sweat. It's no sweat. Give me Acts chapter 10.
The book of Acts, chapter 10, verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea, and called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band.
So this gets people all mixed up because he's a centurion. That's like a general in the Roman army. A centurion is like somebody that is over like 80 men. If a brother could, he could look it up, what a centurion is. But it's like a commander in the Roman army, right? And the Italian band. So just Italian, that just throw people off even more, right? And to think that, oh, he's from another nation. He's not an Israelite, right? So keep reading. Verse 2.
Verse 2, a devout man and one that feared the Most High.
A devout man and one that feared the Most High. So, like, I didn't mean to cut you off. Read it one more time, Mike.
Book of Acts, chapter 10, verse 2. A devout man and one that feared the Most High with all his house.
Now, I got a question. This should jump out to you right there with what they just said. Who can fear the Most High? Can everybody fear the Most High? Why not? Karak Mashad. Say
because everybody wasn't called, so they don't really.
Okay,
That makes sense.
Okay. Who can fear the Most High? Think about like nations. Who has the ability to fear the Most High? It's only one answer. Israel. Who was given the law, statute, commandments? Right? Who has that's all I said. Who has that ability to even fear? Does the so-called white man fear the Most High? His money says, "In God we trust." You telling me? Does he fear the Most High? He said, two men can get married. I don't think he fears the Most High. I don't think. Yeah. Does Moab? Does Chinese? Do they fear the Most High?
Wow.
At
this moment, they don't.
If they feared the Most High, they would keep the dietary law, right?
Right.
They wouldn't just grab anything and throw it on the grill and eat it, right? You know what I mean? So who has the ability to actually fear the Most High? It's an Israelite, right? The Bible says he was a devout man that feared the Most High with his whole household, right? Not only that, he ran his household that way, keeping the law, statute, commandments, and fearing the Lord. If you fear something, what is fear? I think we went over this. We went over this at the High Holy Day. Did we go over this? Go ahead, sis. To be afraid. Who's afraid of the Most High? Go ahead. Who's going to get the judgment? Who knows that they're going to get the judgments of the Most High? Israelites, right? So it's telling you that Cornelius, he was a man that feared the Most High. That's a key point right there. Do you think Romans feared the Most High? Like you think a Greek feared the Most High? They don't know the Most High, right? To fear him, right? Keep reading out.
The book of Acts, chapter 10, verse 2. A devout man and one that feared the Most High with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to the Most High always. So
this was a righteous man. This was a man that prayed always, and he gave alms. This is scripture that tell you that, giving alms, it increase your life. Giving alms, giving money to the poor, right? If you could, can you find what about scripture about giving to the poor?
Okay.
Keep reading that.
Verse 3. He saw in a vision, evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of the Most High coming into him and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid, and he said, What is it, Lord? And he said unto him, Thy prayers and thine alms are come up for a memorial before God.
Said his prayer and his alms. So his prayer and his alms have come up before a memorial before the Lord, right? We know the Lord only deals with Israelites. We know just from that the Lord ain't dealing with. He's not dealing with any other nation as far as their prayers being heard. And mind you, the angels who are the ones to report to the Lord about brothers and sisters down here, right? It said his prayers and his alms, the things he's been doing, the charity, the love he's been showing his people, have come up for a memorial before the Lord, right? This is not any nation. This is something that only can happen to an Israelite, right? Go ahead, keep reading.
Verse 5. And now send men to Joppa and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter. He lodgeth with one Simon, a tanner. Whose house is by the seaside. He shall
tanner. And a tanner is a brother that work with leather, right? Keep reading.
Whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell thee that thou oughtest to do. And when the angel which spake unto Cornelius was departed, he called 2 of his household servants and a devout soldier of them that waited on him continually.
I want you to skip down. What verse you on?
Verse 8 now.
You on verse 8? Keep going. Keep reading. Hold on. Hold that thought real quick. Just hold that. Hey, could you look up Tiberius Julius Alexander? I'm gonna show you something. Cause see, a lot of people would say that he's a Roman, right? I'm gonna show you that Israelites were in the Roman military. Israelites were in the Persian military. Israelites served in the Egyptian military, right? Israelites served in America's military. Israelites served in every military of every nation that had them in captivity, right? Tiberius Julius Alexander, and then give me, when you find it, go ahead and just raise your hand. Keep going, Karak Mashah.
The book of Acts chapter 10 verse 8. And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. Verse 9. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop and prayed about the 6th hour.
Right.
And he became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance and saw heaven open and a certain vessel descending unto him.
So Peter went into a trance and he started to have a vision, right? And that's where we at right now. He's seen a vessel open in the sky. Go ahead,
And a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners, and let down to the earth, where all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth.
Are what?
All manner.
It's the key word is all manner. Go ahead.
All manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. So
a voice said he's seen all manner of different beasts and animals, all manner. And a voice said, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. Keep reading.
Verse 14. But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean.
So Peter said, No, Lord, I ain't never ate nothing that's uncommon or that is common or unclean, meaning common, meaning profane or unholy, or unhallowed, right? I ain't never ate nothing. So it said all manner. It didn't say clean, unclean. It said all manner. So it put the clean with the unclean, right? It put everything together. It put the Jew with the Greek. It put the Israelites that kept the law with the Israelites that didn't keep the law. It put them that were circumcised with them that weren't circumcised together, all manner, right? It was a vision, but it didn't mean what the Christian church thinks it meant. What the Christian church think it meant. You thought. Say that again. No. Oh, I don't know. Is that what they say it is? Hell, there's so many doctrines in the Christian church. You talk. That you can eat. Get a brother a hand. That you can eat anything you want to eat. They thought it was about food because it's showing you all manner of creeping thing and four-footed beasts, right? The Christian church makes this about food to say you can eat shrimp kebab and what's the gumbo and crab legs and pork and all and crustaceans and all of the stuff that America says is a delicacy or really, really good, right? They use that scripture to say you can eat what you want. All you got to do is pray over it, brother. Just pray over them pork ribs. Season them things up and pray over it and thank the Lord. You know what I mean? That's what the Christian church does. You know what I mean? But of course, they don't know the Bible. They don't know the scriptures, right? Because black churches, Hispanic churches have learned for the so-called white man. They learned the Bible from them. And the white man ain't no priest and prophet. These mysteries are not revealed to him. They're revealed to us. They revealed to brothers and sisters that come from the favelas, the ghettos, the barrios, brothers and sisters that are oppressed and at the bottom of this society. That's who the Lord has always dealt with. The Lord, he ain't never dealt with, not saying he wouldn't, but he's never used celebrities and, rich people to do his work. He used ordinary men and women to do his work. That's who he uses, right? Keep going, keep reading. So we're going to get to what Peter said. Peter said, I ain't never ate nothing, because Peter looking at it like, I ain't never ate nothing. You know, it's in a food sense. Go ahead, Ike.
The book of Acts, chapter 10, verse 15. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, what God hath cleansed, that call not thou common.
Now, so now, remember where we at. This is not talking about food. This is talking about people. This is talking about nations. This is talking about scattered Israelites that are considered outcasts, that are considered Gentiles, that are considered uncircumcised. The Lord said, you know, don't call that uncommon that I've cleansed. The Lord said, I've cleansed it. You know, I made it all right for them to come back in. We're talking about people. We're not talking about food, right? But it's a parable, right? Go ahead.
This was done thrice.
Meaning
right?
This was done 3 times.
And the vessel was received up again into heaven.
Keep going.
Verse 17. Now while Peter doubted in himself what this vision which he had seen should mean, behold.
Now Peter thought in his head, like, or he doubted in his head, like, what did that even mean? That you know will just happen, right? Keep going.
Behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house.
So while Peter thought about it, after he just had this vision, the men that was sent from Cornelius, see, Cornelius was an Israelite, but he was from another nation. He grew up under that nation. When it starts off, it tells you he was a soldier in the Roman army of the Italian band. The chapter starts off telling you Cornelius is he's basically what you would think is a Roman, but really he's an Israelite. Right. He's just an Israelite that was considered uncommon and unclean because he didn't grow up in Jerusalem. He grew up in Rome. He served in the Roman military. Just like now, you have brothers and sisters that serve in America's military, right? That grew up American, that will tell you, I'm not from, they say, well, I'm not from Africa. I'm from Louisiana. That's where I'm from. That's where I grew up from. You know what I mean? And they serve in the military, not really knowing that they truly are God's chosen people, right? Keep going on.
And stood before the gate and called and asked whether Simon, which was surnamed Peter, were lodged there. While Peter thought on the vision, the Spirit said unto him, behold, 3 men seek thee.
So like this, I want you to skip down. I want you to skip down because he meets Cornelius and Cornelius tells him what happened. Cornelius got a vision and he told him why he was there. And I want you to skip down to 34, verse 34. We're going to get the meat of it.
Book of Acts, chapter 10, verse 34. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth, I perceive that God is no respecter of persons, but in every nation he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him.
So what Peter is saying, like, okay, give me the Christian. When you read, when Peter talk about God is no respecter of persons, give me the Christian breakdown of what they would say this means. It'll be real simple. It ain't, you know, it ain't deep. Just take a stab at it. Go ahead, Al.
They probably wouldn't read it.
That's right. That's right. They probably wouldn't read it. Correct my shot.
Somebody said, but it's saying like basically they will say that the Most High don't respect him.
I mean, yeah. I was gonna say like put it in a way like a Christian pastor would tell people what this means.
Everybody could be saved.
That's a good one. I didn't even think of that one.
Right.
But go ahead.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, like, if they combating against us, it would probably be like he doesn't just choose Israel; he's choosing everybody.
Right. They'll stretch it to everybody can be saved, or say that your status, brother. It don't matter what you. Don't matter if you're rich or poor. You know, God still love you. It don't matter if you this or that. If you don't matter if you transgender or you this. God ain't no respecter of persons. Come on in. You know what I'm saying? So that's the Christian breakdown. Either to be something like that, or to be like what the brother said. Both of you brothers said it, right? That God loves everybody. He's not a respecter of person, right? But what Peter is seeing after Cornelius had talked to him and told him the vision and how they came together, after Peter got his vision, and remember that these Cornelius is considered a Gentile. He's considered unclean. He's considered uncircumcised. Now Peter is saying, well, I perceive that God is not a respecter of persons, meaning these people that grew up, they bloodline, but they were uncircumcised at one point. God respects them just like he respects a brother that grew up knowing who he was, grew up keeping the commandments, and grew up being circumcised on the 8th day and all of the good stuff. God puts them all together. So there is no respect for persons. The Jews in Jerusalem are no better than the Jews that's living dispersed in these scattered lands. That's what he's saying. Does that make sense? Right. So we're gonna drop that. Let's get that's Cornelius. That was Cornelius. Did you ever get Tiberius before we leave? I need that. Give me Tiberius Julius Alexander.
Tiberius Julius Alexander. Tiberius Julius Alexander was an equestrian governor and general in the Roman Empire, born into a wealthy Jewish family of Alexandria, but abandoning or neglecting the Jewish religion.
So we're gonna get to that. Somebody get 2 Maccabees 4:14. So this just what the brother just read is a real he's a real Jew that was born rich, but he neglected to follow the customs of the Jews, and he went into being into the military, and he became a great commander, right? If you do your research, you do your history, you'll find out that Jews did serve in the military in Rome, right? For up to 300 years, 3 centuries, Jews were in the military, in the Roman military, right? In different areas, different regions. They had an Italian band, like it says right here. They had Jews in Italy serving under Rome, because at one point Rome ruled a large landmass. So you would need garrisons, and you would need groups of people to be in certain areas to protect your borders, right? And a lot of Jewish, what they call them, regiments. There was a lot of Jewish regiments with brothers that was nice, just like it is in America, where you have Hispanic and Native Indian and Black regiments that made history, or was the defining moment in a war, right? The defining moment, you know what I mean? Like the cold talkers, the Native American cold talkers that won the war for them. What was it, World War II? The Native American cold talkers, right? And they use their language in Morse code. And what was it? The Germans? The Germans, or who the Russians or the Germans couldn't decipher the messages. You know what I mean? But they won the war for the U.S. military. Then you had great Black regiments, right? That did great things. And even today, you probably still have those things, right? Because when it comes to the white man's military, it's not like how you see it on the movies. It's very segregated, right? You have whole Black regiments, whole Hispanic regiments, right? So the point is that there were Jews serving in the Roman Empire in their military. So the fact that Cornelius is easy to see that he was not a Roman, he was an Israelite. And it was many of Israelites just like Cornelius, right? Many of them. But Cornelius, because of the alms and the prayers that he sent up to the Lord, was remembered in these scriptures. He was remembered as an example, right? As a turning point also, as a turning point with Peter, because Peter got a revelation that day. He found out, like, damn, the Lord don't just love the Jews that's doing it right and live in Jerusalem. He loved the scattered ones too. He want them to come back, right? He ain't no respecter of persons. He don't respect the Jews that wear the nice garments and do the high holy days and burn the incense and do everything right more than those ones that don't even know that they're supposed to be serving him. He's not a respecter of persons. And that's what Peter learned in Acts chapter 10. He learned that about Cornelius. And that's what the example is there for, right? So I just wanted to bring that out, that, you know, if anybody ever, if it's ever a dispute, you can just show brothers, like, listen, it was Israelites in the Roman army. Like, that's historical fact.
Right.
There's firsthand accounts. There is primary sources, you know what I mean, written on the catacombs. Also, the catacombs is also proof that Jews, those are the underground tombs, that Jews were a part of the nation of Rome, right? Because they had their burials still there to this day. Right. So let's go from there. Let's get Peter 1:1. Talking about the scatter, right? Somebody get Peter 1:1. Somebody get Leviticus 25 and 35 for the precept. Time check is 8:46. Leviticus, give me 25 and 25 and 35. And let me just say something. Matter of fact, I want you brothers to hold that. There's not, like, when it comes to, like, Black and Hispanic people, we are definitely deep in American society as far as going into, you know, the military, going into the police force, especially the military. Now, another thing about Rome is that you could gain Roman citizenship by joining the military. So it was open. There's somebody also named Septimius Severus. He was a Roman, I don't want to say emperor, but he had a high rank. Him and then his son after him, Caracalla, they opened it up for Jews to be able to get into the military. But what my point is that you could become a citizen, get your citizenship. And I forgot to get, did I tell somebody to get 2 Maccabees?
Nah.
Somebody get that first. 2 Maccabees 4:14, because I want to also, like what the brother read about Tiberius, he neglected to live the way of his people, and he went into the military. And so even with Black people, you know what I mean, we grow up poor in poverty, and we're trying to find a way, and the military is a way of is a solution. It's a solution out the hood. Like, how many people thought about going to the military? Raise your hand. I thought about going to the military. The only thing that stopped me is I had a case. I had a case pending. I had to go to court. I passed the test, but I was going to go to the Navy, right? And that it never happened. But that's something that's a solution in your head. You think, like, what you're going to do with your life, and how can you want to do something, and you just want to get out the hood, and you don't know what you want to do, but you see all of these things. Like, we'll pay for college, we'll do this for you, and you look at people, and they look like they're doing good. People that went to the military, right? And that is, and it's an easy out for Black and Hispanic people to go to the military. You got that? Who got Maccabees? You got it. Give me that. You talk.
This is 2 Maccabees 4:14. That the priests had no courage to serve anymore at the altar.
The priests had no courage to serve anymore at the altar, right? Like, when we look at the world, we look at America. Just think of somebody that's in another country, and they're from a poorer country. They look at America and they see all the glory, right? And they say, my father, he wants me to farm. He wants me to come up in his stead and do what he did. But then they see the glory of America and all the stuff on television, and they're like, I want to go there. I want to put down what my father gave me, and I want to be a part of that. Keep reading.
But despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hasten to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise. So
they wanted to put down doing the job of a priest. Doing the job of a priest, they didn't have no courage for it. It was boring. You know what I mean? They wanted to get the bag. They wanted to live their life like this. They wanted to, live out their dreams. They had ambition, right? And they seen what the Greeks was doing. The Greeks had the place of exercise. When you working out, you boxing, you running, you sprinting, Olympics. They had it going on. They looked at that society like, oh, it's going on, right? They got it going on. Go ahead, Doc.
After the game of discus called them forth.
After the game of discus. Discus is the game where you grab the disc and you twirl around like 3 or 4 times and you throw it. And then they measure how far you threw it, right? That's just one of the Olympic games. But the Greeks, as well as the Babylonians, had games that went on. Boxing is as old as Babylon. Sprinting and running and racing, that's as old as Babylon. But these are the things that drew in Black Hispanic people. The priests, they put down their job of being a priest to go play games, right? That's Black and Hispanic people today. We would rather play games. We do not want to deal with the serious issues. In the ISUBK, we do. But Blacks and Hispanics in the world don't want to deal with the serious issues of their people. They don't want to face it. They would rather have pleasure and do what they want to do. So what I was showing was that what they did in the Maccabees, we just read that this real life Israelite that was born a Jew decided to leave. The brother Tiberius was born a Jew, decided to leave that. He didn't want to live that life. He wanted to be a general in the Roman military, right? And also, if you wasn't rich, how could you get a citizenship? You could join the military. In America today, how do people get citizenship? You marry somebody. Right. You marry somebody, you become a citizen of America. If you're coming from a poor place, if you're coming from a place where you want to get here in America, you marry somebody. I don't know no other way in modern times how you become a natural citizen of America other than being born here. But I know you can marry someone and you can become a natural citizen, right? So we got Maccabees. What was he at? We was on. Somebody had 1 Peter 1, and somebody had Leviticus 25 and 35, right? So whoever got it, go ahead and go.
I got Leviticus, sir. The book of Leviticus, chapter 25 and verse 35. And if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee.
So, wait, hold that, because that's the precept. Actually, give me 1 Peter 1 and 1.
This is 1 Peter 1 and 1.
So it's 1 Peter 1 and 1, and then your precept will be Leviticus 25 and 35 to go with that. So for the stranger. Go ahead.
1 Peter 1 and 1. Peter, an apostle of Yahushua HaMashiach, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, Bithynia, elect according to the foreknowledge of God the Father through sanctification of the Spirit, unto obedience and sprinkling of blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, grace unto you and peace be multiplied.
Now Peter giving a shout out to the scattered Israelites in all those different lands, right? Would you name about 6 or 7 different lands, right? So once again, we see the word again, scattered, meaning the Israelites were not in Jerusalem. They were in different areas, different spots, right? And the apostles went to those different spots. And over time, they would have to go other places. Like when Jesus Christ was walking, by the time Christ was walking on the earth, right? The northern kingdom was already over here. I don't know if y'all heard me. By the time Christ was walking, by the time Christ came on the scene, the northern kingdom had already left Assyria and came to a land no man had ever dwelt, North America, right? And so the work started then, and it's still going on right now. The work of going to the scattered is still going on right now, right? Like we the living proof right here. We're still in these schools, and we still going out on the streets to bring home the scattered of Israel, the dispersed of Israel, to their nationality, to their identity. All right. That was it. It said stranger also, to the strangers. So let's get Leviticus 25 and 35. Not to Zach.
Come. The book of Leviticus, chapter 25 and verse 35. And if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee.
The Bible says if your brother be waxen poor, waxen means to grow, right? It's like slang, right? You'll find other scriptures that say such and such waxen fat, meaning he got rich. He got, this is saying waxen poor. If your brother waxen poor, go ahead, from the top.
Verse 35. And if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee.
So that's your precept for the stranger that we just read in Peter 1 and 1, right? That scattered stranger, right? He's a stranger because you don't know him. He's from another area.
Right.
Just like today, somebody in New York, they're Israelite, but he's a stranger to me. He's a stranger to me, but he's still my people. You know what I'm saying? Still my people. He speak a different dialect, different slang words, right? Different. It's different. You go from region to region with us, it changes. The words change. Everything's similar, but things change from region to region, right? We're not gonna have time to get to everything. I wanted to go over this. I want to go over this story, right? Where this woman was killed on Juneteenth. The sister, she was killed by a brother, police officer. So much for Juneteenth. So much for Black history, right? I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna speak a little bit about it. There's also another story. If you have that story, I'm just, for time's sake, I'm just gonna tell the story. It was in San Diego. This was probably this last week, right? Probably this is very recent. There was a championship game in San Diego in Coronado. Championship game, and the Hispanic team lost by 3 points. So after the game, you go and shake hands. So the white team, instead of shaking hands, they throw tortillas at the Hispanic team, right? And Black and Hispanic people have to understand that ain't gonna never go away. You'll never see Black people or Hispanic people doing such of a racial act like that towards white people. It'll never happen. You'll never hear Black and Hispanic people just out the blue, calling white people racial epithets or doing something like, just throwing crackers at them. You know what I mean? You'll never see that, right? What I'm trying to show you is that there is something in the so-called white man that will never change. I don't care how many policies and how many, Juneteenth holidays they make, federal holidays. I don't care what they do. What you have to understand is that the Lord made him crooked. And the Lord is the one that's going to straighten them out. That's it. We cannot fix the way the so-called white man is, like as a nation of people. We will continue to see these type of things and these type of acts. You would think like after everything that didn't happen in, COVID and George Floyd and all of that, that you wouldn't see these type of things, that people will just be thankful to be alive. Not the white man. He's a sore loser. Sore winner. You would think if you won something, you'd be like, yeah, we did that. You know what I mean? You could walk away, right? You could walk away and be happy and be good. Like, yeah, we smashed them. We won. Not the white man. He has to throw tortillas at you. He has to throw beans at you. He has to tell you, you know, you ain't nothing, right? Like they said, the assistant coach was, you know, talking crazy to the kids and telling them they need to get up out of there and all that. He's a sore winner. Like he's already won and he still hates us. He still hates us. Like he's won. He's ruled the earth. He rules sea and air, right? But he still has to figure out a way to call you a nigga and a spick and throw tortillas at you, right? So I wanted to bring that up. Now with this sister, this is something about I wanted to go into about being into, you know, the white man's military. Being in a white man's military and being in his police force, you know, we wouldn't, in the ISUPK, we don't suggest it. We won't tell you to be in the military or be in the police force. Why? Because you have to turn your back to the oppression of your people. You know how they say there's bad cops and good cops? There's bad cops and then there's good cops. Well, what the hell is happening when the bad cops is doing what they're doing? Why the good cops ain't saying nothing, right? You understand? So that means you would have to turn your eye when your partner does something that's evil against your people. You would have to not say anything. You would have to keep your mouth closed, right? When your partner, you know, stealing money, pull somebody over and take their money, or beat the hell out of somebody because they ask why are they getting pulled over. You would have to turn a blind eye to that. So we don't suggest to be in the white man's military, right? Because it's about oppressing Black and Hispanic people, right? So right here with this brother, this is actually a brother that this sister on Juneteenth, for whatever reason, we don't know what reason, she shot at him and he returned fire. And I just want to show you his reaction after he shot this sister.
That's a Flint police officer, guns drawn, verbal commands to a 19-year-old woman behind the wheel, who state police say drove up and shot at the officer. The gunfire you hear from the officer forced to shoot back is the woman, Brianna Sykes of Flint, ignored him. She was the only one in the car. After he shoots her, they try to do first aid on scene, but she died at the hospital. You can see the officer crumbles.
Bro, yeah, we good. Bro, yeah. He just killed them.
I kind of feel like him dropping and everything was like devastation of the whole situation.
The officer was at a traffic enforcement point at a Juneteenth parade in Flint Saturday. No one else was hurt. You can see the officer can barely stand in anguish.
The police just shot that up. He had to.
I feel like the police was doing his shot.
So now you see the brother after he shot her. The brother was remorseful. That won't happen if a white man shoots you.
All right.
It won't happen. And see, the brother he probably knows somebody. He probably knew the girl. He probably knew somebody that's her family member. But that is the type of compassion we're supposed to have on one another, right? And you can't expect the people that had enslaved us for 400 years to even have an ounce of compassion like that. Because what happens when a white person shoots a black? What happened when they shot Botham Jean? What happened when they shot Trayvon Martin? What happened? They try to figure out immediately how to get up out of it. They try to figure out immediately how to say, oh, he looked like he had a gun.
Right.
They try to figure out immediately, like put in bad stories and say, oh, he got a record. He went to jail on this date, right? What the point I'm making is that we have to have brotherhood, and what like I feel for that brother right there. He shouldn't be in Esau's police force. He shouldn't be in the police force, right? Because he has compassion on his people. He could have been here, like General Hazayan, who was on the SWAT force for many years. He could have put down that badge and that gun and came and served in the military of the Lord, right? And not have to, you know, kill or murder his people, right? But the compassion that brother have, you can see that we are God's chosen people, right? And we need to love one another. But don't expect the white man to have that same love, right? Don't expect him to look at you like a brother or a sister or feel bad or break down see that brother was down on his knees in tears after he realized what he did to that sister. And he probably had no choice. But we do have a choice. Black and Hispanic people, you do have a choice. Today, if you hear these words, get into the ISUPK. Learn your history. Learn your identity. Learn who you are. You get what I'm saying? And start loving your people. Because that's what it's all about. It's about brotherhood. Without brotherhood, we ain't nothing in here. But with brotherhood, we can do everything and anything. Under Commanding General Yohana, under the Lord. And with that, that's the class. I pass the class to priest and officer.
Men of Israel, Amijah. Give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Sorry, face the teacher. Men of Israel, Amijah Shabbat. Amijah Barak. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Barakathon.
Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Barakathon.
And sorry, face the sister. Sister Screaming. I'll give a courtesy salute to the sister. Men of Israel, Amijah Shabbat. Amijah Barak.
Yahweh Shemar by Hashem Yahushua.
After the time, class dismissed.